So during the recording and the previews, I was talking about point swings where first and second place individual weight classes swap. And for some reason, I kept saying 4 point swing. 12 points is first place, 9 points is second place. When you swap those, one team gains 3 points, the other team loses 3 points. That's a 6 point swap. So apparently, 3 plus 3 is 6, not 4.
Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Roar and Lara Sturm.
Welcome to episode 241. How are you, Josh?
I'm just dandy.
Dandy?
Can't talk, but I'm just dandy.
No one says dandy anymore. No one says that.
Well, people need to get with the program. So we'll get through. We'll get to the point. We got a lot of shit to cover.
Corrections. We got the corrections to do first.
Yeah. Fuck. So last week here's a couple things. We'll start with our mistake. Last week, we announced Lexington High School was the men's Raw varsity champions, and we said they were from New England, I believe. But there was a Lexington High School from Lexington, Nebraska that was actually the men's Raw varsity champion. So that was on Lara.
Me. It was me.
Looked up the...
It's because I have this bias towards Massachusetts and Lexington, Massachusetts. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm very apologetic to those in Nebraska who didn't get their due.
So the best part is, like, you're totally willing to fall on your sword on that one, but I'm the one that told you Lexington High School from New England. So
okay, it's all your fault.
But I appreciate you willing to take the rap there. But here's the other thing. So we announced the best lifters last week, and I'm going to stand by those names. Those are the true best lifters of the meet. However, USA Powerlifting awarded the best lifters using the age coefficient. So the dots with age coefficient. And that's only supposed to be used when comparing two different divisions. So for example, if you were to give out, and this happened at IDFPA Worlds too, where they had it set up wrong initially, and I noticed it and messaged them even though I wasn't there, and they corrected it. So for example, if you're giving a best lifter for M1 and a best lifter for M2 separately, you just use straight dots. So you have a 40-year-old as an M1 and a 49-year-old as an M1. They're in the same division. There's no special age coefficient factor. If you're comparing best lifter between M1 and M2, then you use the age coefficient across everybody, because it's two different actual categories.
Right.
So in this case, they were giving a JV best lifter and a varsity best lifter. Should have just been dots for each of those individual divisions, but they used age dots. And essentially, there was one category where a lifter lifted in the varsity division as a 14-year-old, and by dots, they were like the 8th best lifter. But with the age coefficient, because they were only 14, they actually got best lifter by like half a dots point. And they were not the best lifter. Like, I'll just flat out say it. So that was done incorrectly. But I'm not sure if they're going to change it or if they're going to stand by it, because that's what they did at the meet. However, that's what they did at Worlds as well, but they corrected it after the fact and announced the correct best lifters after the fact just by straight up dots. So I don't know if this is going to be another after the fact correction, but it was supposed to be just by straight dots. So that's, anyway. Congratulations to the lifters that we announced last week, because you are the true best lifters. And it only affected 2 people. Of all those divisions, only 2 people were wrong. But I'm not going to announce the corrections. It's just what we announced last week was correct.
Was correct.
Yeah. So this is our, so we made a mistake, but we also did something correct. And anyway.
Yeah. Oh, well, you can only do the best you can do. But yeah, they should fix that.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm. All right. So in Georgia, we've got two new meets on the board. We've got the USA Powerlifting Forge Classic, August 8th, and that's going to be in Alpharetta, Georgia.
Yep,
And Joel Chong is the meet director.
correct. So that is one new meet, not
Oh,
two.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I saw
We're
two bullet points. My brain thought two. Sorry.
we're the best around.
No, don't try to sing.
Always trying to hold the podcast down. Whatever. Okay. So there is a big event coming up. So the Student and University Worlds that is happening May 30th to 31st in Tampa, Florida. And basically, the top lifters from Collegiate Nationals and the best lifters from high school nationals qualify. So the invites have already gone out for the high school lifters who competed a couple weekends ago. Collegiate Nationals is happening this weekend starting tomorrow on Thursday. So how to qualify for that, because I don't know if a lot of people know. We'll just talk about the collegiate because that's what's coming up here. So teams can qualify. So the top three men's teams and the top three women's teams basically qualify their team, and they can put whoever they want on that roster, whether they competed or placed at nationals. So
Hmm.
that's kind of cool because you can throw people on there that maybe didn't lift at collegiate nationals, or maybe they were injured or whatever. I mean, the key factor though, they do have to be still a full-time enrolled student in good standing. So they still have to be a collegiate lifter. You can't just throw
Mhm.
like, Ray Williams on your roster or something like that. Um,
Can't read it.
so yeah. Um, and then also the top three teams from the Collegiate Cup Series, which we haven't really talked about that much, but basically there's a series of collegiate meets that are sanctioned under USA Powerlifting as Collegiate Cup Series, and it's kind of like the Pro Series in a way.
Hmm.
You can earn so many points from each of those events, and basically the top three teams qualify their team to go as well. And then for individual lifters, the top 10 men and top 10 women by dots from the Collegiate Cup Series qualify. The top three lifters in each weight class at Collegiate Nationals qualify. And then after that, if there's still roster space, any men with the 450 dots and any women with the 400 dots from any USA powerlifting meet, assuming they still are collegiate eligible lifters, could qualify. So it's pretty big. It was a pretty big success. It was in Massachusetts last year, and
Hmm.
it's in Florida this year, and I think it's going to be pretty big. So a lot of people are competing for that at Collegiate Nationals this coming weekend.
Sweet. That's exciting.
Yes. Yeah. That said,
That said,
these are the projected team placings
ooh,
based on.
the world according to Josh Four.
No, this is USA Powerlifting actually put this out. They
Ah,
did the math based on qualifying totals and where everybody
okay.
would place straight up by qualifying totals.
Okay. So predicting in the female raw category, first place might be, I should say, Midland.
Right.
Second place, Davenport. Third place, Concordia. Fourth place, Longhorn Powerlifting. And fifth place, Miami University, Ohio.
Yep. Big party school. So there's a lot of things here. So I'm going to make my prediction right now. If there's going to be an upset, if Midland doesn't win the female Raw, my prediction is it's going to be Concordia, the third place projected team. And here's why. There are a lot of close battles. Well, let's start with an interesting one that actually doesn't relate to Midland. So Texas is projected fourth, Miami's projected fifth. In the 52 kilo class, Texas is projected to win with a 375 kilo total from Katrina Bellin, and Miami is only 2.5 kilos behind with a 372 from Kendra Cassidy. So if Kendra wins that 52 kilo class, that's actually a 4 point swap because first place gets 12 points, second place gets 9. So that would be bumping Texas from 12 to 9 and bumping Miami from 9 to 12. So I can see that weight class is going to could determine fourth or fifth place by itself. Potentially, I haven't seen the full scores that could potentially even bump them a little bit higher. But let's get to the one that I think really, talking about Concordia, why I think they could win this. So there's two weight classes in which Concordia and Midland are going head to head for first and second, and Midland's projected to win both of those. The 60 kilo weight class, Madison Rock from Midland and Taylor Hedke from Concordia. There's only a 20 kilo difference in qualifying total. I know that's big, but people can have bad days and people can have great days. So if Taylor beats Madison in the 60 kilo class, then we're looking at a 4 point swing there. And then in the 100 kilo class, there's only a 20 kilo difference between Midland and Concordia. Aaliyah Henry for Midland and Taya Badger for Concordia. If Taya wins that one, that's another 4 point swing. So obviously other things need to fall into place, but those are two direct battles between Midland and Concordia that if they go Concordia's way, that could be enough to, if nothing else, move Concordia into second. But being that they're knocking Midland down, they could sneak into that first place position in the female raw division, which is exciting because the other part of it is the 100 kilo class is at the end of the meet. So like they're going to know if that actually is going to matter at that point, or the coaches will know. So
Right.
I can see that session of the 100 kilo raw women being really, really exciting if all the other things fall into place leading up to that.
Mhm. Well, that'll be a cool battle to watch. I love how you
Yeah.
get all geeky and look all the way into like every lifter on every team. Like that's amazing.
I'm just a nerd that way. Like this stuff excites me. Like I was like this is where I started was collegiate powerlifting and all these little and I'm only talking here's the other thing that we didn't go through all the lifters. I'm just looking at the top
Mm,
five and see really looking at like one and two
right.
because that's where the big point swings the shifts happen. But like
Hmm.
a lot of points can be made up and lost in those, you know, second, third, fourth, fifth as well, just not as drastic of point swings. So, those aren't the only factors. There's going to be other things that have to fall into place, but the most, I guess, momentum shifting swings could happen in those two weight classes, the 60 kilo and the 100 kilo class.
Nice.
Um, and then I guess another thing that, that would help Concordia too. So the 70 kilo class, which this indirectly affects Concordia, even though they don't really have a lifter contending for the top five, because Midland is projected second in the 70 kilo class. But right behind Madison Garcia for Midland is Lily Rubenstein from Florida. And there's only a 6.5 kilo difference there. So if Florida beats Midland there and Midland gets third, that's one more point that Midland loses. So that could be the difference too. So basically, Concordia will be huge Florida fans during the 70 kilo class.
Nice. That's awesome. All right, well, let's move on to the male raw, and predicting in the first place, McKendree, second place, Midland, third place, Davenport, fourth place, Concordia again, and fifth place, Texas A&M. These are all expected um,
Based on
placings.
qualifying total. Yeah, these are all done based on qualifying total. USA Powerlifting posted this along with
Mhm.
the Collegiate Nationals Instagram page. So I went through this as well. Obviously, things are going to happen. This is not how it's going to probably play out. Maybe it is, but I'd say this is the safest division for it to play out as listed. There's a couple weight class battles here and there, but nothing significant enough that I'm like, this is really something to watch. I mean,
Mhm.
so I actually have nothing to add to this one. I feel like this is going to probably play out fairly close to how it's listed.
All right. Well, we'll see. The next team to talk about is the female equipped. First place expected placing would be Midland. Second place, Northeastern. Go Northeastern. Third place, Longhorn Powerlifting. Fourth place, Texas A&M, and fifth place, Sam Houston State. We'll see.
Yep. Yeah. Northeastern's projected second, and they're going to be my dark horse to win because of a couple of different battles here. Some of them not related to Northeastern, which is kind of crazy. So Lily Falcone is projected to win the 48 kilo class for Midland. Lillian Patterson from Texas is projected second. There's a 17 and a half kilo difference there, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but it is equipped. That's the other factor. And uh, it is, it's equipped. Anything can
Right.
happen there.
It's
So
possible.
if Texas wins that, that knocks Midland down, again, down 3 points. It's not a point swing because, Texas isn't necessarily in that well, I guess they are kind of in that striking distance for first.
Yeah.
They're projected third, but I
Yeah.
think I think Northeastern is the closest to winning, and I say that because also when you look at the 52 kilo class, Midland is projected first, but there are two lifters kind of right behind it that could potentially knock off Midland and knock them down into third. Emily Avila from Texas A&M and Mercedes Messias from UTSA. So if them two lifters can knock off Kalista come from Midland, then that's another 3 points taken away from Midland. Which brings us to the 90 kilo class, where there's only a 11 and a half kilo difference in qualifying total between Kennedy Butcher from Midland and Joy Lee from Northeastern. So if Joy Lee from Northeastern can beat Kennedy Butcher from Midland in that 90 kilo class, and those other scenarios played out in the 48 and 52, I can see that being the difference between Northeastern sneaking into that first place. Just to make it interesting, I want to say Northeastern is the dark horse to win that
Mm,
female collegiate equipped division.
nice. Well, in the male equipped division, we have projected first place Midland, second place ULL, third place UTSA, fourth place LA Tech, Louisiana Tech, fifth place Texas A&M.
This one's going to be freaking crazy. I have four weight classes here that stand out. I mean, there's obviously other ones too, but I guess I'll start with who I think is the dark horse to win. I think ULL, Louisiana at Lafayette, is the dark horse to win. They're projected second right now as a team, but there's a lot of things that if they go their way are going to stack up some points pretty quick. So starting off in the 67 and a half kilo class, Connor Rutland from ULL is second by 7.5 kilos to Jaden Ramos of UTSA. So if Connor can win that weight class, that's going to be 3 more points for ULL. In the 82 and a half kilo class, this one's got multiple layers here. Texas A&M is projected first with a 77 and a half. Samuel Campos. And then Ethan Goudry has a 772 and a half kilo, which is only 5 kilos less. So if Ethan can knock off Samuel, that's going to be, 3 more points for ULL again. Now moving into the 125 kilo class, Grant Van Arsdale has a qualifying total of 845 from Midland, and Brett Guillory has an 840 total, which is a 5 kilo difference
Mm,
from ULL. So in that 125 kilo class, that's another ULL lifter that if they can knock off Midland, so not only this is an actual 4 point swing. So not only is it
mm,
3 more points for ULL, it's taking 3 points away from Midland. So those points add up
mm,
because you can only score seven lifters. So like we're already talking about uh, that's already four weight classes. So the final weight class that I think is significant is the 140. Caleb Linares from Midland has a 900, and Jerron Larry from ULL has an 875. If Jerron can knock off Caleb, again, that's another 4 point swing. Like if all, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen,
mm,
but all of those are very realistic scenarios. I think they have to have the 125 because that's a 5 kilo difference in qualifying total, and that's a 4 point swing. They have to have that one. If I'd say one of the other two, the 67 and a half kilo and the 82 and a half, if they get one of those to go their way and they can win the 125 and the 140, I think we're potentially looking at ULL as the national champions.
it's kind of exciting, all these changes, and I think it'd be really cool to be there live.
Yeah. Yeah,
Such a
it's
great
like
meet.
I have chills just thinking about it. I don't know any of these lifters. I know some of the coaches still, but like I don't have a dog in the fight, but just like
Mm.
just the excitement of like knowing all of the battles and just remembering like
Yeah, yeah.
how crazy and intense it gets and how much people care, like
Mm.
how much they care. So it's yeah, it's super exciting. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there is a collegiate body meeting on Wednesday at 8 p.m. local time in meeting room 5, and all registered teams have one vote.
Yeah, so if you are at Collegiate Nationals, please do attend that meeting because if you want to know, what's going on at the collegiate level, that is where you get your information. That is where you get your voice heard. And literally all registered teams have a vote. So when you're voting for committee members, voting for, potential changes to the meet, things like that, that's all
Mm,
discussed and voted on there. So yeah, definitely attend that.
that's awesome. And I read this and I'm just like, oh, this just warms my heart. Cumberland University from Lebanon, Tennessee, is offering fully funded powerlifting scholarships, or will be offering fully funded powerlifting scholarships with open tryouts at the end of April. That's so
Yep.
cool.
Yeah, Wade sent me a message. He actually went to meet with them on Tuesday and supposedly yeah, they also have I don't know the full details, but basically they're going to be looking
Mm,
at international students coming in too, that are
mm,
powerlifters and offering scholarships, and it sounds like they're about to get real serious about recruiting and getting
mm,
people in there. So, yeah, it's pretty collegiate powerlifting has gotten real interesting now with the scholarships. Like some of the schools, like Louisiana has their own, kind of like Georgia has a Hope Scholarship. Like Louisiana has like
right.
whatever theirs is called. So a lot of the powerlifting teams in Louisiana can still offer scholarships for not directly for powerlifting, but people can go there and compete. But some of these other schools now that are offering scholarships for powerlifting make it interesting because it kind of throws a curveball in the traditional, stay at home and compete at your local school
Mm,
because they can get assistance now going elsewhere for powerlifting. So I
yeah.
don't know. My prediction, Cumberland will be placing as a team in the next few years.
Yeah, because that is something that would attract talent, I
Yeah.
would think. Nice.
Yep.
All right, powerlifting situation. Are you ready? Boom, boom, boom. Your collegiate team has finished in third place in the last 2 years. Individually, you finished second and first in the last 2 years. You are the heavy favorite to win your weight class this year. The coach asked you to move up a class for team points. You'd be projected third in the higher weight class by only 5 kilos. If you win and your teammate in your original weight class can get second, you should win as a team. Do you move up?
So this one is an interesting one because it deals specifically with collegiate. If if we're talking collegiate lifting, which we are, then the answer is 100% yes because the collegiate powerlifting, yes, individuals compete, but it is primarily about the team. And, especially these teams that are offering scholarships, like they can offer scholarships because they are placing as team. They like the team
Mm,
placing is what gets them publicity. So these weight classes are now chess pieces. So yes, things have to go their way, but it's a
mm,
calculated gamble to try to get first. So like the safe bet, if I just want to have an individual national champion, keep me in the same weight class. And I'm pretty heavily favored to win that. But looking at all the other matchups, we don't really have a chance to win as a team.
right.
If I move up in this scenario, I only am behind from a qualifying total standpoint by 5 kilos. Factor in, I'm going to gain some weight between now and then. So I should theoretically improve my total. But also just the 5 kilo difference, that's one missed
Cool.
bench.
Right.
So there's two lifters in front of me, but from me to first is only 5 kilos. That's a very realistic uh, gap to make up, especially if I'm gaining weight and the other lifters aren't. Yes, that also allows my teammate to potentially get second, where if I was in the original weight class, I would be bumping them to third if they still did their, their numbers. I think to me this is a no-brainer. This is absolutely yes. You move up and you try to get the win for your team. If it doesn't go your way, at least you tried. Like the other side of this and why it's in here is like I already won a national title individually. That happened last year. So, you know, if I've never won a national title, you can make the argument like, you know, oh, you know, maybe you owe it to your lifter to let them win their national title. Well, they already have one. Let's win one for the team now.
Right.
Yeah, to me, this is 100% yes. You move up and do what's best for the team.
Yep. Agree. So will you be watching collegiates this weekend?
I will be on and off as much as I can. I have
Dad duty.
I have some dad duty, but you know. So I might be. Do you ever watch Home Improvement?
No.
There's a one of the episodes where Tim Allen, his character, is like at church on like Easter Sunday or Christmas. I don't know what it is, but basically he's listening to like a game on his headphones. Like he's got a wire like ran up through his shirt into his ear, and he's just like the preacher's up there talking, and then Tim's like, yes, and everybody's like, you know, I think he's talking about church.
It's gonna be you. Yes.
That's gonna be, yeah. The point is that's gonna be me this weekend, like
Nice.
like at the park or whatever, just like listening on my Bluetooth to the lifting and the upset happened or you know whatever.
Right.
So
That's awesome.
yeah.
All right, Josh. Well, that's
Do you
all
have
I
a new
got.
lifter tip?
I do
no new
not.
lifter tip.
I
Okay.
have no new lifter tip, and I have to go.
All right. Sounds good. Well, my new lifter tip is don't bomb out. Okay. Thank you all for
Yes.
listening.
Good tip.
Yeah. So if you do want to watch Collegiate Nationals this weekend, usapowerlifting.com/live will have all the links to the scoring, all the links to the live stream. This is super exciting. This is as strategery as it gets from a coaching
yeah.
perspective. And, you know, I like, even if you can't watch the live stream, like during third attempt deadlifts, pull up Lifting Cast and watch some of these battles, watch the changes. If you need to improve your attempt selection and meet day coaching, like pick a lifter that's in the mix and pay attention to their lifting and you know, what would you do for their attempts and see, you know, that's good practice. So,
Yeah. Very cool.
yeah. All right. Well,
All
on
right.
that note,
Talk to you next week.
later.
Okay. Bye now.
And just a friendly reminder, if you are looking for science-based powerlifting programming, look no further than the Team Roar training app. You can find the link to it in the episode description and also get 25% off of your first month using discount code, all capital, PL Ballads Podcast. Happy training.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.